This is Economy Watch, what you need to know about New Zealand's economic life today. Brought to you by interest.co.nz.
Kia ora, and welcome to Tuesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect New Zealand. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news the world's second largest economy shows more signs of losing its expansion mojo. China's exports rose in September, but at an unexpectedly slowish pace. They were expected to rise 6% from a year ago, but only rose 2.4%. This was the fifth consecutive month of export growth, though it was the slowest pace since April. Cut price or dumped steel exports were a factor, a trade that is worrying many countries. And as expected, import growth was also weak, barely more than a year ago and well less than the 0.6% rise expected. And China's new yuan loan growth came in much less than expected, rising almost 1.6 trillion yuan, but better than the modest 1 trillion yuan in August. Banks are making more debt available, but it was a slower rise than the 1.9 trillion expected. And the September 2023 level, they rose 2.3 trillion, so well down on that basis too. A lot now depends on issuing a lot more debt. Some of this additional 9 trillion yuan is on the way, but to be fair, much of that won't be direct commercial bank lending. But sovereign money printing and bond issuance may well flow through to this channel. On a side note for China, we can report that their ETS carbon price rose to its highest ever level yesterday, 103.5 yuan per tonne. The reason is that tougher emission standards are on the way there. But this ETS tax is low by New Zealand standards, equivalent to just 24 New Zealand dollars a tonne. Currently, our ETS is pricing carbon at $63 a tonne. In the EU, that same price is €64 per tonne, or 116 New Zealand dollars a tonne. China's disincentive to pollute is cheap by comparison. And Singapore said its economy grew 4.1% in the third quarter from a year earlier. That is its fastest pace in 2 years and accelerated from 2.9% growth in the second quarter of 2024. Meanwhile, in India, consumer inflation rose sharply in September to 5.5%, much higher than the August 3.7%. Driving this change was food prices, up at a rate of 9.2% in September, and a far faster jump than the already high 5.4% rise in August. This data may inhibit their central bank from starting an expected rate cut cycle. They have a midpoint inflation target of 4%. In the US, recent days have brought sharpest falls in food commodity prices as it becomes clearer that US and international grain harvests will be very good this year. Wheat, soybean and corn prices are all falling on excess supply worries. Overnight, the Nobel Prize in Economics was awarded. The prize was given to Darren Akamajulu, Simon Johnson and James Robinson for work that advanced the understanding of differences in prosperity between countries. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.12% and up 5 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold will start today at $2,647 an ounce and down $10 from yesterday. And oil prices are down $1.50, just on $74 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is now $77.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar starts today at 60.9 US cents and down 20 basis points from yesterday. Against the Aussie, but little changed at 90.6 Australian cents, and against the euro, also little changed at 55.8 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just under 69.3 and marginally lower from yesterday at this time. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $65,786 and up 5% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been high at just on plus or minus 3.2%. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.